The development would spread across the picturesque countryside between Caerleon, Llanfrecva and Llandegford in a disorderly way that maximises intrusion on the community. After people at a recent public meeting expressed their concern about its impact, I thought I would depict local concerns in the context of general concerns about solar installations and relate that to my poor impression of the developers since the announcement of this project nearly a year ago. Site preparation could take 2 years. It would involve the movement of many large lorries through narrow, winding, hilly country lanes, as well as other vehicles within fields, carrying solar panels, panel frames, piles for driving deep into the ground, and masses of stone for site access, storage areas, parking, 6 kilometers of roadways and drainage. It seems to me that the project was proposed without the developers having a viable plan for movement of the materials to and from site. For example, we know that all 3 possible routes have severe weight restrictions, and some have air quality concerns. These and other potential problems mean the developers are still trying to find workarounds. Flooding. I have 47 years' experience watching heavy rain produce small rivers running down the steep fields opposite me. Fields that are planned for solar panels. I see flooding of the brook below these fields, followed by flooding at the bottom of my own field, and then the lane. In the worst conditions, transport is disrupted, and I've even had to wade through a wavy sea to get home. Ponthir itself has been affected. Newport High School All Boys Rugby Club in Caerleon has been flooded twice recently, and some of the floodwater would have begun by running off the fields opposite me. It's well known that solar panels can increase the speed of runoff, and that accompanying rainwater erosion can form gullies between rows of panels. Making things worse, our fields have soil with poor absorption, which would now be compacted by construction activities. It seems crazy to do anything which makes runoff and flooding worse. The developers have not inspired confidence in me about their appreciation of this, even if digging channels filled with stone for drainage. Solar panels are well known for their glinting flashes, as well as for more sustained glare. Both vary with sunlight, the panel angle, and the point of viewing. At times, panels can appear totally black. It's not just the unlovely appearance of the panels themselves, but the lovely landscape they replace. However, like most people, I think solar panels are a welcome source of green energy, in the right place and planned with sensitivity. The developer's ill-fitting arrangement means that some people in the neighborhood will be surrounded by panels. Not for beauty, but for security. Very tall steel fencing would obscure views from our many lanes and footpaths. It's inevitable that walkers and other lane users would find unattractive a depressing countryside that has long given great pleasure to the communities around us. Visual impact is usually an important consideration for planners, but it doesn't seem to be much of an obstacle to this development. Now, apart from replacing good agricultural land, there will be noticeable damage to vegetation, hedgerows, verges, and perhaps roads. Naturally, wildlife too would suffer, but that's probably a separate subject for deeper coverage. Some of the damage to the ecology may be compensated for by the developers, but would anything be appropriate compensation? During construction, there would be tremendous noise, and not just from the lorries. Construction itself would be very noisy, particularly when driving thousands of steel piles deeply into the ground. Many workers would occupy the fields, raising the motoring population of the lanes, and there's no indication that the workforce would be sourced locally. The solar panels would come with cables, transformers, inverters, security cameras, and additions to the substation, with connections dug through the fields. Such electrical equipment can produce continuous sounds, and as with many things, the developers have not given an indication of the expected noise from everything connected with the solar project. As well as our local ecology, another area of interest I'm not covering in this video is the environmental cost of producing solar panels, with the impact on diminishing resources and the eventual cost of structural waste, including the dead panels. The 3 local authorities affected object, but they are not the ones who will decide. That's going to be the Welsh Government, who may be blinded by the UK's net zero policy, which trumps normal planning rules and here turns a blind eye to the carbon cost of thousands of tons of stone, steelwork, silver and silicon, as well as to the loss of photosynthesis from the grass in the fields. However, it's Senedd members who will take the decision. Local people can influence the process by communicating with their councillors, the Senedd members themselves, the Welsh Government and the company. Finally, damage to fields. The developers promised to restore the countryside in 40 years' time, but it's questionable whether the fields would be beyond restoration, who would have the responsibility for restoration, and whether the land would then be used for building. All in all, it's an issue full of unease, misinformation and mystery. If the Welsh Government says yes to this, our countryside will be a daily reminder of that decision for decades to come.